right, here we go. Lesson number 13. Wow, we are getting there. Now, lesson number 13 is 100% all about the hair. Now, this is going to be long in terms of me shading in the hair. It did take me a very long time to do. And what I'm going to show you in this particular lesson number 13 is how you want to build up the softness of the hair, how you want to gradually build up the values to create that softness. Again, everything is totally dependent upon your style of artwork. And I was mentioning in an earlier chapter, 2 chapters ago, about how some artists will just leave the shadow side of this model's hair totally in shadow as a shape, not with all of these strands. But what I'm trying to do here is just to show you my pencil stroke direction, okay, is going to make the hair feel like hair. The gradual building up of the darks is going to make the hair feel soft and not hard. And then you want to take little sections of the hair and really try to make it look cylindrical. Okay. Now, long gesture stroke. There are some parts of her hair over here near the ear that are catching some light. I would say that her hair is more of a light brown, dirty blonde, and the value ratio is more of a middle tone. Her hair, absolutely it is. The value ratios are quite clear. Her hair is a middle tone and her face is a light tone. Now, one could argue that maybe her hair is a dark middle tone and that her gray shirt is a middle tone. But yeah, now we're getting into the weeds a little bit. Long strokes, slightly dull pencil, solid shapes, lean back. So this is more of the side plane of her head. Now, normally when I teach how to draw hair, like on that old course that I have at the original drawingtutorialsonline.com in 4:3 video format, that woman's hair was extremely curly. So most of the topic of hair was you're drawing a lot of cylinders. There's not a lot of cylinders on her head with the exception of the top of her head near the part. So as the hair is up, I have no hair. Isn't this lovely? As the hair is over here, it turns and that's where it's very cylindrical. But when we come to the side of her hair, it's very like just long and flowy. And that's where you want to have those long, soft pencil strokes. And again, what I would do when I would paint is I would map out the value of the hair and then I would start to add the lighter strokes. You can see I'm using that big brush to just soften everything gradually. I would put we're pretty small. This is 4.5, that's 4 inches, 3.5 inches, 4.5 inches. To the neck, it was 5 inches tall. To the chin, it was 4 inches tall, that portrait. So we have a pretty small portrait. Now, you see, got to get rid of the white paper over there. That's totally the side plane of her head. If we allow those lights to stay there, it's just going to make the head look more two-dimensional and less three-dimensional. The darker we go with this section of the hair, the more three-dimensional it's going to look. Now, you could even say, Matt, I think that you added too many of the strands of her hair, and technically you should have kept that more of a solid shape. There's an argument to be made for that, no doubt about it. When you look at a lot of John Singer Sargent portrait paintings, the shadow side of the hair is just a shape, and it makes the head look so realistic. It makes the head look so three-dimensional when it looks that way. To do the solid shape with the coal erase is another can of worms. It takes forever to make a dark, solid shape. And then you're dealing with the texture of this paper with this pencil. It's tough. It's not an easy thing to do. I should go get that photo. What I'm doing here, there's a little light section of her hair right there. Do you see it on the photo reference? That is part of a cylinder. And now we're going back to more of a front plane. That's a cast shadow on her hair. Her ear is casting a shadow. Let's just darken the ear one more time. All cast shadow over here. That's very dark. There's layers of hair on top of layers of hair. So I'm trying to get that feeling that this section of hair that I'm working on is on top of what's underneath it. Different layers of hair. Really dark over here, really solid shape. Takes forever to shade this with a Color-Ace pencil. Long strokes, she has long hair. Have the pencil strokes go with the lay of the land. Curve around, lots of S curves. Good. Now all of that is going to be put within the shadow. Let's go over to the other side. This is just a cylinder. Her hair is starting to rest on her shoulders a little bit. Unfortunately, you don't see that in the reference. I need to slide everything over to the right. But her right side, when her hair touches her shoulder, it really starts to bounce into a cylindrical shape. So that I have the line that separates the light from the dark on the hair without drawing the line that separates light from the dark. So what I'm doing here is shading the whole side plane. And now you can see the top of her hair. I'm leaving that the white paper for now at least. And it syncs up with the line that separates right here on the temple. You see that? So we're really, really working the side plane of the head. Soft, dull pencil. Soft, dull pencil. If you had to write down 2 words associated with hair, the first word would be soft. The second word would be soft. The third word would be cylindrical shapes. The fourth word or phrase would be long gesture stroke or lay of the land, dependent on the person's hair. So if you're drawing my hair, or what's left of it, it'd be short upward pencil strokes, okay? And then there's some areas where it just starts to become more of a shape over here. But with her, it's long strokes because of the long hair. That's how you create texture. So I say to my students all the time, I'm like, listen, especially on the first day of class. I just had the first day of class with my students last week, and I'm like, you have to watch the videos for homework, and it's not Netflix. It's me talking about hair, peanut shapes, cylinders, matching values. It's not Netflix. It's not Marco Polo, where episode number 1, you see people killed on spikes. It's really, really violent, and it grabs your attention. You have to really want to learn how to draw this way to watch this, and I really do commend you for watching it, because it's not like watching Netflix. It's not a serious or a drama that grabs your attention. It's an educational video, and I say that to my students. I'm like, listen, you have to do the best that you can, because the students that watch the video versus the students that do not watch the video, as boring as some of this might be, watching me shade the hair, the students that watch the video will be at an advantage. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, I say to them, you could watch part of the video, click ahead, watch part of the video, click ahead, and that's fine too. You have to do what you can do. But yeah, it's an educational video, okay? And this is really slow in terms of blocking in tone. But you can see how it's starting to progress. Her hair is nice and soft. It's not hard edged. And I'm trying to teach you in this video how to get these soft textures. Now let's cling on to this one long strand once again and bring it from top to bottom. See how I'm leaving the top of her hair? It's a little tedious for me to get my pencil over there, so I might draw a little bit of that off camera. Very long stroke. We're going to try to go dark over here. If I finished the drawing right now, I'd be happy with it. Honestly, I'd be happy with it. Just trying to compare some shapes. This is where you have to get the feeling and be consistent with your artwork when to stop. Do you want to have parts of your drawing unfinished? So now we're getting into cylinders again. So you see what I'm drawing right now? I'm drawing that dark shape near the part. That part of her hair is going straight up, and then it's going to turn around to the top of her head and then go down the other side. You have to squint and you have to look at that part of her hair as a cylindrical shape, as a shadow shape. Super soft shape right there. There's a couple of angles on the top of her head to give it some character, so you're not just drawing a round circle for the top of her head. Wrap the pencil strokes around the cylinder shape of her hair. Good. Okay, we're getting there slowly but surely. There's hair going in a couple of different directions over here. You don't want to have the hair going all wrapping around. You want to have some sections of the hair going at a different angle because hair is messy sometimes. Unless you're, I'm going to date myself, unless you're Marsha Brady and you're going to comb your hair 100 times before you go to bed. For those of you who've watched that episode, we have... We're brothers and sisters. Okay, I remember that episode from back in the 70s. Maybe it was the 80s, I don't know. It was probably reruns. Early 80s. Okay. Now it's looking at different shapes if you want to make her hair look like her hair. This is where a little bit of concentration comes into play. So we're going to concentrate and we're going to look at each individual strand or section and try to divide those sections into shapes that all kind of make sense. Everything just needs to be so much darker. So I'm probably going to work a little bit off camera after this lesson number 13. We only have 2 more lessons left in this course. I really do appreciate you watching all of this. The next videos that I do for the website, drawingtutorialsonline.com, will be super short. They're just going to be 10-minute little sections of how to draw an eye, how to draw a nose in terms of the structure of the nose. I'm physically going to draw the surface planes of all these things. And do almost like the demonstrations that I do in class. All right, I'm running out of flashcard memory on my cameras for this. I need to buy more flashcard memory. It's still very, very, very light. But it's fine. It's getting there. Very slow process, but take note of the softness. Right now she looks like she has blonde hair, right? Doesn't she? Because the value ratios are off. See, that's a little awkward for me to do on camera, so I'm going to do that off camera, but it's a long stroke wrapping around the top of the head. A little awkward, no doubt. You have to just look at those shapes of shadow up there in the reference. Try to draw those shapes of shadow. Wrap around. Pencil stroke direction is everything. All right, awesome. I will see you guys in the next lesson.